Hi everyone, it's HappyChimeNoises. Today we're looking at Trollip on EU West, who is a Kayn jungle player, but he's actually a Kayn Double Jungle player, playing top lane most of the time. He starts the game with a jungle item, but then he sells his jungle item, he's getting top farm, he's invading the enemy jungle. It's a really weird strategy. He's actually a jungle main, as you can tell by these amazing KDAs, but when he gets autofilled top lane, he still picks Kayn, he still takes smite and teleport, he still plays as a jungler. We gotta find out why he's doing this. So this game he started Hailblade as well as his jungler has. He's starting on Raptors, meanwhile his own jungler is starting on his own blue without a leash. I believe he's told his jungler to do this. Meanwhile the enemy jungle on their buff. So Kayn is actually counter-jungling his own jungler, but he does have a good reason for it. He takes E and he's going to rush into the enemy jungle. His own jungler completely safe, full clearing. Meanwhile Kayn is stealing Raptors from the enemy jungle who's doing a full clear. So this guy still has no idea what's going on with Kayn. Easily clears this camp as Kayn, all you need is Q, it only takes a couple Q cooldowns and it's dead. Kayn has smite ready for red buff, meanwhile Rek'Sai is still busy bot side, Kayn's gonna get this before he even gets here. Kayn smites the red, he's gonna finish this clear with 4 camps, as well as his jungler getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 camps. So Kayn's team, 9 camps versus the enemy only getting the bot side 3. And Kayn is then home free. He can go straight back to top lane. This wave hasn't really even pushed fast enough. He's still going to be able to claim some of the gold. It's a cannon minion wave actually, so it's stalling quite a lot. Kayn doesn't care about this, he's just going to use Q and E over the wall. Back to his wave for free gold. And we're actually going to swap games, and I'll show you another one where he does the exact same thing, but he has a different adaptation he can make. Okay, so he's still starting on this buff, but instead of his jungler starting blue, they decide they want to invade. And so there's a 3v3 on this buff, pretty even, could go either way. Yet Kayn is level 2 and is able to start joining this fight immediately. The enemy mid can't get here. It's actually a 5 versus 3 in this situation. So the alternative option you have is creating a very advantaged level 1 fight. They get a first blood. And they should get a second kill. They get a second kill. Nice. And so of course, this guy is a counter jungler. He's not going top lane, he goes immediately in to steal the enemy's camp. He has his mobility and he has smite, so he can smite this away. There it is. He's trying to get collapsed on, but he always has the mobility to get over these walls. He's distracting 4 people right now. Up to 2 minutes 30 in the game. Nidalee is trying to get her first camp after that buff. Bot lane still have not got any XP, meanwhile the AD carry's been getting all of it. Surely Kayn's going top... oh no, he's not going top lane now either. So the enemy Nidalee is trying to get back in the game, but he's not going to let that happen. He could go for the jackpot play, taking red buff, a bit risky. He goes over the wall, they have no idea where he is. They think he might be taking red. They discover it's safe, he's not there. He is still getting an advantage though. Nidalee did manage to get 1 single scuttle crab, but her pain is not over. She's going for this red buff. The red buff gets low, Kayn is going to go try and maybe kill her, or smite steal it even, as well. He gets low, he smite steals it, he's got the red buff to slow her, and his E to regen some health in a second, there it is. He could probably chase this, he chases this. They kill the Nidalee again for the second time. And so, basically all of the camps are gone on Nidalee's side. He still has his smite item, so he does lose gold if he farms, but he has a strategy prepared for this. He goes top lane, ready to get this CS. He has a tiny little window with this smite item where he can still farm and still get the good gold. He doesn't get restricted at all. So what he does is proxy this wave to shove it. This looks pretty normal at this point. He's in a bit of a bad situation. It's questionable what you'd do next. You probably base, just to be safe, make sure you don't get collapsed on. But he has a different strategy. He proxies another wave. He knows this is dangerous, it's on purpose. You might think only an idiot would make this kind of play, but then we see he dies at 5 minutes. The smite item in inventory he sells. He buys Iron Spike and boots. He does this on purpose every game. It's not a mistake that he dies here. He wants to die here and draw pressure up. So that meanwhile, while this is all happening, his bot lane have an advantage against this Ezreal. If their Nidalee wasn't here, Ezreal would be dead even. He's drawn the enemy support, the enemy mid, he drew the enemy Nidalee earlier, he's created so much pressure already. His team are already ahead, basically 1k in gold. And of course, you don't expect him to just be like a normal top laner at this point, right? He's not just gonna stay in top lane, he's not gonna farm. He continues with this proxy strategy, immediately rushing past tower, after he gets his plate of course. He's gotten a lot of gold from this. Ideally what he wants to do here, instead of proxying the next wave, he'd be stealing camps. So against any jungler that isn't like a super fast clearer like Nidalee, so he could steal Krugs again. He's drawn the enemy support up again. The brand is here. So while this is all happening, you can see there's a dive going on bot lane. Ezreal should be dead here. And so he's creating this pressure. This Ezreal should die, thanks to Kayn, basically. And after some questionable dives from his bot lane, Kayn couldn't really control this. They get the kill. Let's just pan away from this. Kayn made the right play. Kayn helps them get that dive off by drawing the brand to topside. And so at this point, I'll just fast forward it actually so you can see that he's doing sort of a repetition of actions. He no longer has the restriction of the jungle item, so he can farm the CS. He goes top lane, gets a wave. The enemy pushes it in again. He goes top lane, uses E for some regen, gets the wave again. Walks down, smites to gain some health back from that trade. Back top lane, get the wave again. And once again, leaves lane again, smite something, back up to top to collect the wave. He doesn't have to fight against any really strong early game champions, he can just do this play over and over again if he wants to. It's like he's getting a free few health potions every time he goes out to lane, which is pretty strong. Unfortunately he overextends again. I mean maybe it's on purpose again, it's hard to tell. He draws Nidalee up, nothing's really happening at the same time. It's hard to tell when this guy is doing something just to draw pressure. Again, Nidalee is top lane. They actually do get first tower though, even without this. I think he's making a big brain play. The enemy jungler is going to gank you if you're playing like this. He knows he's going to die in these situations, I think. If you teleport back into a big wave with your tower on one plate left, the enemy jungler you know is topside, you're going to die in that situation, but I guess he just is happy to trade it. One thing I haven't mentioned is part of the reason he doesn't mind dying so much is that it can create bounties on the enemy team. So if he's really trying to win this game, he's creating like a little bag of gold that his team can come and collect later on. He's still getting a ton of pressure, which alleviates all of the pressure from bot side. And then once early game is over, his bot lane, like they are now, can go top lane, get a triple kill, collect all of the bounties that he's created. Meanwhile he's in the side lane, still pushing, still creating pressure. I think if this strategy works, the game is pretty broken, especially because he's still trying to fight this Ezreal when he's so far behind. Hasn't he got 4 deaths by now? Of course, around here, Kayn needs to be fighting so that he can start building up his form. It's not 100% negative just dying in this situation. He still gets some stacks, he just wants to get to his form as fast as possible. Another fight breaking out, he just wants to get some stacks. It's unlikely he wins fights before he gets this form. So maybe next time your teammates are trolling in solo queue and dying a ton, maybe they're just trying to get you a bounty so you can get fed. Maybe they have another reason like wanting to get Kayn stacks, who knows. He can become Darkin, so he's ready for that. He's back in base, 40-minute transformation, not too bad, pretty average actually. Considering all of the pressure he's managed to create so far as not really an early game champion, it's pretty impressive. He didn't really lane against his top laner very much, and so it's kind of surprising he still got the form this early. One thing that I was thinking, and I'm sure everyone else is thinking, is that his mid who is Xerath and his AD carry who's this Zeri, they are incredibly fed. And in a way, it seems like this game he's getting carried. It definitely seems like that. I was watching a couple of this guy's replays to prepare this, and I was just thinking, oh, he gets carried in every game. Why does his bot lane always have such good KDA? But I think that it's very unrealistic to assume that someone can get solo carried by his bot lane to Grandmaster and still remain in Grandmaster after hundreds of games. And so I think really what's going on is that he's creating this pressure himself, and in turn that's drawing the enemy jungle to a slightly more useless lane in comparison to bot lane. If his bot lane wins, it's pretty likely they can win the game. And same thing with mid. If mid doesn't get 2v1'd, it's a good chance Xerath can farm, scale up, and be quite useful. He's trading all of his early game, even going smite item, just for this pressure that he's able to create. I guess top lane this season, especially with the other smite strategies, instead of being a 1v1 fighter, you're more of like a battalion commander looking at the battlefield, deciding where you would be most useful. It's very similar to support. The Pyke in this game, he's not trying to 1v1 anyone, he's not trying to 1v1 the Ezreal. He just wants to be where his teammates are, ready to help them make a play. If he's there, he can land a hook, they can get a kill, and that's a success for him. Whereas now, Kayn having his form, if he's in a fight, he's able to land W, that normally means they get a kill as well. And so he can help win a fight for his team. He doesn't care about the split pushing so much. In fact, we might get to see it here. Engaging with W on Nidalee. Goes in, regens health. The pull gets landed on the Viego, and that's a free kill. Nice. Meanwhile, his teammates are pretty far ahead. They can maybe even look for this one. Big flash play by Xerath, very nice. But this guy's just shoving wave. He doesn't care, he doesn't care. He's creating pressure, guys. You gotta keep remembering, your job is not fighting, your job is creating pressure. Whatever the situation. I think he might be creating a little bit too much pressure, is the only issue I have with him. Created a bit too much pressure there. So again, he's back alive, just skipped forward through his death timer. He's back top lane. Again, creating a lane of pressure that his teammates can use. He doesn't have TP right now. It's a bit of a risky play not being here, if I'm honest. But his teammates are so far ahead, it doesn't really matter. Instead of being the one in the fight, he's creating a point of pressure that hopefully his teammates can use later on, I think is what he's trying to do. I think he does kind of ditch his teammates a bit too much, but you can see how successful it is in this situation. They're going to get this tower. They already won the fight. Maybe he already knew his teammates were going to win the fight without him. They have the Rift Herald ready to charge this. I mean, this wave push that he's done has been really good. He's not duo Q with this jungler as far as I know. This would be an incredibly good duo strategy if you had the option to play it like that. It's looking like a potential fight. They have a lot of gold on Kayn's team. I don't think they really want to fight. Kayn with his Unleashed teleport can join any fight he wants to now. Is happy to go into a side lane. Still even farming a bit with his smite. In terms of this fight, the enemy mid laner can't join. He's not joining either. He thinks it's already won. He's just going to shove the lane. He thinks it's already won. He's just going to shove lane again, and then they can use that to end the game, I think is his plan. A final kill for his team. He's teleporting into base, that's game. So this strategy, I guess I would summarize as a bit of like a proxy pressure Kayn. It's not like Smite top laners, which are all about helping your team early on. It's about making sure the enemy jungler has to come get you, the enemy jungler has to come to your lane, and thus they can't go to any of the other lanes. So you can pick a slightly more risky champion like a Xerath, you can pick like a hyper carry, AD carry like Zeri, you could even pick quite a risky early game jungler. kha'zix isn't too bad. You could pick Fiddlesticks or something like that, because they're not going to get invaded, because you're busy invading the enemy jungle. The drawback in terms of what happened in this game is that he died a lot, and those are sorts of choices that he's making. He wants to go for these things. You don't have to die in these situations, and with the kill bounties existing, it means that the deaths aren't really that bad. It feels like this strategy would be really hard for anyone to beat. If you pick a jungler who doesn't clear very well on the enemy team, like this game they had Nidalee, so she can run through camps, kill them instantly, get onto the next one. But say the enemy jungler had an Elise would never want to kill Krugs. Every time Kayn pushes his lane, he can walk up, steal this Krug camp, free gold for him with Smite. It's pretty instant he kills this. Same thing, he can use E, walk through these walls, down to the Raptors. If they're up, he uses Q one time, Smite, and they're dead basically. And then he can just return back, get crab even if he needs to. Your jungler is basically freed up to full camp bot lane if they want, or they can be farming the whole time. It's pretty likely you can draw the enemy support to you, as well as the enemy mid. We saw these guys collapsing on him earlier on. And even though he died, all he really lost was the gold from the death. You're not really going to lose tower because you have such good wave clear on your Q and your W. Once you get form, you're a great champion regardless of really how many deaths you have. But for his normal build, he starts Halo Blade, refillable. He bases and sells it for Iron Spike, which is really good for wave clear. First item, Gore Drinker. This item we bought some anti-heal, into some armor pen, pretty good items. Death Dance and Black Cleaver are also good options. Here are the runes that he's going as well, Conqueror. These are pretty normal. He goes Biscuits and Cosmic Insights, just to help with the early laning, I guess. It's such an interesting strategy. What do you guys think of this? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe and let me know if you have any other strategies like this you want me to review.